What if the biggest threat to the Houston Astros right now isn't the team they're playing, but the injuries that could decide how strong this team really is when the season reaches its most important stretch? Houston entered this weekend sitting on top of the AL West at 59-57, but the margin is razor thin, with Texas and Seattle right behind them. And after dropping 2 of 3 to Toronto, the Astros aren't just looking for a win in San Diego. They're trying to prove they can keep control of the division while key players work their way back. The good news is that Houston's injury situation isn't quite as alarming as the names on the list might make it sound. Carlos Correa, Mike Burrows, Brice Matthews, and Brandon Walter remain among the players to monitor, but their situations are very different. Some are potentially nearing a return, while others are already looking toward 2027. And one of those names, Correa, has suddenly become a much more interesting story than Astros fans were expecting a few weeks ago. Correa underwent surgery in May to repair the peroneus brevis tendon in his left ankle after suffering the injury on a swing in the batting cage. At the time, the expectation was that his 2026 season was over, and the Astros officially listed his expected return as 2027. But now there's a little more hope. Correa has been cleared to resume swinging, starting with dry swings and gradually progressing from there. That doesn't mean he's about to walk back into the lineup, and Houston has not announced a return date, but the fact that he's progressing this far has opened the door to a possibility that once seemed completely off the table. And honestly, that could become one of the most fascinating storylines of the second half. Correa was back with Houston this season in a leadership role, and even while injured, his presence matters inside the clubhouse. The Astros aren't going to rush him just because the standings are tight, but if he can get healthy enough to contribute later in the year, Houston could suddenly have another experienced bat and a major postseason piece. For now, though, it's still a rehab story, not a comeback announcement. Then there's Mike Burrows, whose situation is much more immediate. Burrows has been dealing with right elbow neuritis and was placed on the injured list in July, retroactive to July 7th. He's been working at the Astros facility in West Palm Beach, Florida, where the team has been gradually building him back up as a starter. His return date remains undetermined, so the important thing is not when he'll pitch again, but whether his throwing program continues without another setback. Brice Matthews is another name Astros fans should keep an eye on. Matthews suffered a left knee sprain after crashing into the wall while trying to make a catch against Texas and was placed on the 10-day injured list in July. He's been able to resume baseball activities, including hitting and fielding ground balls, but the key test is running at full speed. Until he can do that comfortably, Houston has every reason to be cautious. And then there's Brandon Walter, whose timeline is completely different. Walter suffered a torn ulnar collateral ligament in his left elbow and underwent Tommy John surgery in September 2025. He's on the 60-day injured list, and his expected return is 2027. So unlike Correa, Burrows, and Matthews, Walter isn't really part of Houston's immediate playoff equation. His story is about the long road back and making sure the next chapter of his career begins with a healthy elbow. Here's what makes this particularly important for Houston. The Astros don't have the luxury of watching the division race from a comfortable distance. They're leading the AL West, but the Rangers and Mariners are close enough that every series matters. At the same time, Houston has actually played some very good baseball recently, going 39-26 since May 22nd and entering this road trip with one of the American League's strongest offensive profiles. And that's where Yordan Alvarez becomes absolutely critical. Alvarez has been putting together an MVP-caliber season, hitting .329 with 35 home runs and 85 RBIs entering the San Diego series, while also leading the American League in batting average. He has been one of the biggest reasons Houston has been able to absorb so many injuries and still stay at the top of the division. The Astros opened this series against a Padres team that entered at 60-56, with Ronel Blanco facing Robbie Ray. Blanco was returning to the rotation after his own injury absence, while Ray brought a 10-6 record and a 3.08 ERA into the matchup. That made the opener a fascinating test for a Houston club trying to bounce back on the road. And Houston has already answered that test once, taking the series opener 5-3 in San Diego, with 2 games still remaining. That changes the picture slightly. Instead of desperately needing to start the trip with a win, the Astros now have an opportunity to put real pressure on the Padres and potentially leave San Diego with an even bigger statement. But the bigger story hasn't changed. Houston is trying to win the AL West while managing a long list of injuries, developing younger players, and waiting to see whether veterans like Correa can return at exactly the right time. If the Astros can keep getting production from Alvarez and the rest of the lineup while their injured players continue progressing, this team could look very different by September. And that might be the part of this story that matters most. Houston doesn't need every injured player back right now. It just needs enough of them healthy when the games become impossible to ignore. If you found this update helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Unix Media, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest news. Thanks for watching.